Okay, I'm just double checking the streams here for everybody. Let's see what we can see. Bear with me 1 second here. Okay, I just want to make sure we're streaming live on everything. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Relief Valve Podcast. It's been a little bit since I've been with you. It's been a combination of things. You know, when you start to really delve into all of this and the futility of all of this, it starts to weigh on you a little bit, and then you start to wonder if everything that you're doing is having any impact at all. When you're doing a show, and there's so many people that also are doing shows, and they're lying to you, they're bullshitting you, the misinformation, as the left likes to tell you. The Candace Owenses, the Dan Bonginos, the Harry Sissons, the other pieces of shit that are there just to misinform the public and give you bad information. When someone is trying to grow a show like myself, you start to wonder if you're even, you're banging on the glass and you're wondering if anybody can even hear you. And you get to some points where it's frustrating. And you don't know if you're getting anywhere with it. So I've grappled with that a little bit. And I thought maybe I won't bother with the show anymore. I just don't think enough people are waking up. I don't think enough people are seeing what's going on. You know, it's ICE is out there trying to do the will of the American people. 77 million people voted to get these illegals out of here. And we weren't particularly concerned about how they did it, because if we were, we would have said that. We would have said, oh, well, we'll get rid of all the illegals, but can you please put kid gloves on, and can you please hand out hugs and kisses? And we didn't say that. We said get the illegals out, which means whatever way you can. So basically, ICE has been going by that mandate. They've been out there. They've been dragging people out. Are there some mistakes that are made? Sure. I understand that. Mistakes happen throughout all of life. Nobody's perfect. You have cops that will go after somebody and they will have the wrong person when they're trying to get a suspect. They will pull over a car because they have an all points bulletin out, and it ends up being the wrong car and the wrong people in the car. You know, these things happen, and the left is trying to push this narrative of, oh, well, one time ICE dragged a person out of their house in their underwear, but it was the wrong person, and so that's very bad. Okay, well, mistakes get made and the wrong people get grabbed for things. That happens. We don't shut down the entire organization because that happens. If a black Toyota Tundra and the cops are looking for it and they pull over your black Toyota Tundra and they drag you all out of the car because they've got an all points bulletin on a black Toyota Tundra and they're looking for a bad person that's in it, so they drag all of you out to question you. That's a shitty situation for you, but they were trying to do their job, and they were trying to look for that vehicle, and you had the same vehicle. It was unfortunate, but that's what it was. But they were trying to do their job. If everything was perfect, it'd be like the Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where some AI machine would tell you where the crime is happening, and then they'd automatically be able to go there, and you would be left alone. So, are oopsies happening with ICE? Sure, but you wouldn't have to worry about any of those if Dementia Joe hadn't let all these illegals into the country, if the Democrats hadn't let these illegals into the country, if they hadn't put us in the position we are right now, which is you have dangerous illegals, a fair amount of them. All of them are criminals, first and foremost. They all crossed over the border. They all broke our laws. And then they're all living here at the taxpayer's dime until they get on their feet, find a job, whatever it is. I don't care. They still broke the law to get here, and they used my money to do it. Now, me and my family are already struggling. I'm sure you and your family are too. Why is it okay that a legal family came in, got more rights than us, and took advantage of us? I bet all that money that they gave to illegals on a credit card, on an EBT, on a free hotel room, or whatever it was, I bet you could have used that, couldn't you? How about these storms? How about this bad winter storm that just hit us with 2 feet of snow? Not only in the Northeast, but blasting the middle of the United States as well. How many people are without power right now? How many people may not have enough food or rations right now in the middle of this? Do you want to know what the illegals were giving you while you're struggling for your emergency supplies? I bet you'd fucking love to hear it, wouldn't you? So, they're all criminals. But ICE is going after some of the worst, the ones that have robbed people, the ones that have killed people, the ones that have hurt people, the ones that have raped our daughters. You know, as an American citizen with children, with a family of my own, I've been thankful up to this point that I haven't had to suffer through this. I haven't had to suffer through the left. I haven't had to suffer through an illegal doing something to my family. But you know what I have that's a reason that I don't sit back and say, oh dear me, oh boy, oh dear. I feel so bad for these scumbags they're all arresting. You know why I don't sit back and say that? Because I have empathy for other people that have gone through what I haven't. The Lake and Riley's families and the other daughters that have been raped and killed by these scumbags. I have empathy for them. So I can advocate for a problem without having to suffer directly through it. So that in the hopes that my children won't have to go through that horrible event as well. But you know who doesn't give a shit about that and doesn't have any empathy for you? The left. These pieces of shit that are out there right now protesting ICE. That are upset that you are rounding up those poor, innocent, horrible illegals that are abusing the taxpayer dollar and raping your daughters and hurting people and setting up fake daycares and then embezzling millions as a result. That's what the left is standing up for. If you're ever concerned about your moral compass, regardless of how you feel, think about who you're advocating for. You can advocate for your fellow Americans who have children of their own, and you're worried about what could happen to them. Or you could be on the other side, like these leftist pieces of shit, and you could be advocating for illegals that never should have been here and never should have had the opportunity to hurt Americans, the legal Americans, the way they had. So for anyone that says, well, Matt, we've got plenty of criminals here already. So what's the difference? Why is it? Why do you have to single out these illegals? Well, you sort of answered your own question when you asked that. And it is, we've got so many criminals of our own. Why do we have to import new criminals? How about dealing with the ones we got? Right? If you've got a crack in the windshield of your car, do you say, well, fuck it, I'll smash my passenger side window too? Or do you say, I should fix my windshield? Do you keep doing damage to your vehicle? Or do you fix the current damage that you have? You don't go, oh, well, there's a crack in my windshield. Fuck it. I'm going to smash my back windshield because I don't give a fuck. Where's the logic in any of that? There isn't any. So that front windshield with the crack represents the criminal element we already have in the United States and the America. Smashing your rear windshield is allowing the legals in the fresh new problem. Why did it make sense to damage your vehicle more? That's what we've done when we've let these illegals in. And this is what the left either can't figure out or they don't want to. And I think they don't want to. I think the left is raging against the machine because this is what they do best. They're all the scum of the galaxy, right? Like Los Eisley and Tatooine. A hive of scum and villainy. Be careful when you go there. This is what the left is. They're a hive of scum and villainy. There's no moral compass for them. They don't even know what their gender is. They're non-binary. They're trans. They're pedophiles. Even though they try to claim that Trump is and conservatives are, they are all the pedophiles. They are all the criminals. They are all the pieces of shit. The worst people that you can ever run into in your life. Think about this for a minute. What was it? That kid in Wisconsin, right? What the fuck was his name? He shot those. He got attacked in the street, and he shot three leftist scumbags, right? So it just happened to be that 2 out of the 3 killed were pedophiles that had just recently got let off on parole. And they were accused of, not like it was a 17-year-old and it was like, oh, I don't know. It was like right on the line because the state says that 17's legal. They were minors. They were like 13, 14, and they had raped these minors. Kyle Rittenhouse in Waukesha. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But Waukesha, Wisconsin. But anyway, he ends up shooting 3 people that attack him, trying to hit him with a skateboard, trying to hit him with weapons in their hands, trying to kill him in the middle of the road. He shoots 2 of them. 2 end up being pedophiles. All leftists, all part of the riots, all part of that group. Isn't it convenient? It's like that. It's like that saying. Well, you know, you can shake a stick and hit somebody that's this or that. It's interesting that if you shake a stick at the left, you end up hitting a pedophile, a criminal, a rapist, or all of the above. It's pretty interesting that's what the left is composed of, because that's what they are. The left is the worst that humanity can have to offer. And I'm going to keep yelling this to the rooftop until more people start getting it. The left and the Democrats are the enemies of this country. Now, we're going to get to the most recent shooting in Minnesota. It was another left-wing piece of shit. This guy was a nurse, a guy that I would never want as my nurse, some left-wing faggot. And he decided that he didn't like that ICE was going after dangerous illegals. So he decided to take his grievance to the street. He was allegedly legally armed, and he decided to go to a protest legally armed. Now, you might be legally armed, but if you go to a protest/riot and you bring your weapon with you, chances are, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting that you're looking for trouble. You're looking for an opportunity to pull that weapon. Now, he might not have gotten a chance to do that because I stopped him. But he had it on him. He was looking for trouble. Because if you weren't, you would have left the gun at home. right? If I'm just going to a peaceful protest, I'm not bringing my weapon with me. Why? Because if I'm one of them, if I'm one of the shitbag left, and I'm going out to protest against ICE, against federal officials, think about the heat you're going to get into in attempting to kill a state or a federal official, right? They're not going to kill you without just cause. So what you want to do is you want to go and you want to run your mouth and you want to be a little bitch and you want to be pissed off about all those poor, horrible illegals that are raping people, and you're very upset that all the poor, horrible, dangerous illegals are being taken out. You don't need your gun for that, unless that you're planning for trouble and you're planning to hurt someone. Because the only thing you need to do, because who else is going to attack you while you're there? Your other fellow illegals? Your other fellow leftists? No, they're not. They're on your side. They're going to protect you. It's the conservatives that are in danger, not the leftists. So, as far as your leftist pieces of shit, you're safe. You don't need your gun for them. ICE or the police who aren't showing up, by the way, ICE is having to defend themselves. The police aren't helping. So you need to defend yourself from ICE, except ICE is not after you. You are an American citizen, allegedly. Even though you're a fucking traitor. But you're an American citizen. Why is ICE randomly going to shoot you? But go directly engage ICE, get into a brawl, record them, and then get into a brawl with them. And then expose your weapon. Well, now you're going to get shot. I'm a licensed gun carrier. I've owned guns for almost 10 years now, in multiple states. I've never once had a problem carrying a gun on me. Because I don't pull it or have it in a situation that I've put myself into that I know that is going to be bad. I remember in an old relationship, and I had a problem with the guy that ended up sleeping with my wife, now ex-wife. And I had a problem with him for obvious reasons. And I ended up going after him to have a conversation with him. You know what I didn't bring with me? My gun. Why? Because if you're bringing it or a weapon or anything else, you are looking for the escalation point to get to that point. You're going, okay, I'm going to have my gun on me, but I'm not going to do anything until it really gets crazy, and then I'm going to pull it. At that point, you've already decided that you're going to pull it, and then you've established a line that you have to reach in order to pull it. So the main factor was you brought it with you, and your intention was to use it. You just have to get there. You have to get to the line that you set. If you weren't worried about that line, you weren't thinking about it, you would have left the weapon at home. A bat, a knife, a gun, whatever. If you were thinking, I'm not going to get to that point, it's not going to happen, you'd leave the weapon at home. This new piece of shit, a nurse in Minnesota. You want this fucking asshole as your nurse? This nurse who got shot brought his gun with him and then went to a protest so he could be violent along with the other protesters. And had his weapon on him. Who are you going to use your weapon against? Your fellow leftists? No. The conservatives that might show up? It's been primarily leftists that have been there. It's been hardly any conservatives at all that have been part of it. So your goal was to get into a situation that turned sideways so much that you would pull your weapon on an ICE officer. That was his intention. Now you've got the left saying, oh my God, this poor little piece of shit that got shot. Oh my goodness me, it's bad. No, it's another left-wing piece of shit that put himself in a situation on purpose. And we're going to take a look at some of it. So here's a little bit of that, and we'll get into it.
Two very different narratives forming tonight after another deadly shooting at the hands of federal agents in Minneapolis. Just weeks after the deadly shooting of Renee Good, today an ICU nurse from the Minneapolis area was shot several times after he was taken to the ground by federal agents. This is video of what happened, and a warning, it is disturbing. The Department of Homeland Security says agents were conducting targeted operations in Minneapolis this morning when the man, now identified as 37-year-old Alex Preddy, approached officers with a gun. DHS says the agents then fired in self-defense, striking and killing him. The video we have the shooting does not show Preddy pulling the gun on agents before he shot and killed, although it is hard to tell what's going on in the scuffle. Regardless, thousands of people across Minneapolis and the country taking to the streets tonight in protest. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Ward Jollis. We'll get to those details on what happened in Minneapolis today in just a moment. But first, protests are escalating here at home in response to this deadly shooting. Fox 12's Leslie Dominique is live at Portland's ICE facility where a crowd has gathered tonight. And Leslie, what's the latest there?
Well, Ward, tensions certainly were high here at the South Waterfront, and they still are today. People are fueled with anger after not only one, but two deadly shootings of Minneapolis natives by the hands of federal agents. I'll give you a look at the scene now. You see that there's still a large presence of people out here. Demonstrators banged on the walls of the ICE facility for a while, and eventually federal officers did respond, but with tear gas, flashbangs, and pop canisters. Protesters knocked on ICE's door Saturday night, calling for the agency to stop operating in Portland, while also condemning the death of another person in Minneapolis at the hands of federal agents.
You know, after Renee, that was disturbing. We showed up, and now it happens again, and we show up.
Saturday
after Renee, he couldn't say her full name. I hate these people, and I know what her name was, Renee Good. These people are protesting, and they don't know what their names are. They don't know the names of the person that they're supposed to be advocating and outraged over. So it shows you who they really are. I hate every one of these pieces of shit, but even I know their names. Renee Good was the one that was shot before, and she's a dumb leftist dyke cunt, and I know her name. That fucking retard is out there, and the only thing he knows is the name was Renee, and he can't think of the rest. That shows you what these people are. They're not out there because they have a moral compass that they're going by, and that they've decided to rebel against something. They're doing it because it's a flavor of the month. It's the next thing to do. They hate Trump. They hate what Republicans and conservatives and Trump are doing, so they're out there fighting back against anything they could. If it wasn't Renee, if it wasn't this other faggot, it would be just ICE taking illegals in general. It would just be people getting pulled over. It doesn't matter. Also, it's interesting that you're not seeing the level of riots that you did for St. Floyd that you are right now. Isn't that interesting, lefties? That they gave a shit about George Floyd, but they don't give a shit about you two. Renee Good and Josh Pretty, whatever this faggot's name is. I don't even remember. We'll get to it. Anyway, who cares?
In Minneapolis, a federal immigration officer shot and killed 37-year-old Alex Preddy.
This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to...
DHS says federal officers were conducting an operation and fired what they describe as defensive shots after Preddy approached them with a
So that's his weapon. That's Preddy's weapon right there.
Handgun, adding he violently resisted when officers attempted to disarm him.
How many more residents, how many more Americans?
Oh, this is Jacob Frey, this fucking Somali sucking faggot. Piece of shit. Mayor of Minneapolis.
Minneapolis native Mike stood among the large crowd outside the South McAdam Avenue ICE facility.
Me being from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and still having a bunch of family back there, yeah, it affects me hard.
He says he spent the morning watching different angles of the shooting.
I saw, one video and then someone else's different view, and I'm like, there's no excuse for this.
Also in the sea of demonstrators, a noticeable presence of nurses. Preddy worked as an ICU nurse in Minnesota, said to be known for caring for sick veterans.
Yeah, if this piece of shit actually cared about anyone, he would have been in the hospital doing his job, not in the road, attacking ICE officers, defending dangerous illegals. If this guy actually cared about human beings, he would be against dangerous illegals, and he would be supporting American citizens. Again, the left and the media try to paint this narrative as every single time you hear it, oh, they were wonderful people. They cared about everyone and they did their best. Really? Because they were supporting the worst humanity has to offer. He was a piece of shit. Renee Good was a piece of shit. And they're trying to paint them in a different light. And they're not. They're anti-American garbage. Is what they are. And he got what he asked for. He fucked around, and he couldn't pay the bill when it came to find out.
In our code of ethics to stand up against these injustices, both inside of hospitals, inside of clinics, and outside on the street. And I think it's just a very prescient time to make sure that you stand 10 toes down on that.
Where were these fat retards when women were being raped by illegals? Where were those fucking retards?
With irritant gas, a familiar sight in this part of town. Another look at this crowd of protesters. Again, there were a few counter-protesters here today, some who were at the march over here from the park earlier. One in particular was accused of pepper spraying some of these protesters. Now, today's march to the ICE facility was organized by an immigration rights group, Portland Contra las Deportaciones. For months now, they've been calling on city officials to revoke the conditional use permit for the ICE facility.
An illegal
today
group.
was no different. Now, PBB says that they have made some protest-related arrests today. We expect more information on that later on in the evening. For now, reporting in South Portland.
So it's these NGOs that are amongst the ones that are arranging all of this shit. Arranging these losers who, a bunch of losers on standby with no lives and nothing better to do with their time in order to show up and protest and attack ICE agents. And these non-profit organizations that support illegals, support criminals, and the worst people that we have that end up harming our family members. It's these fucking groups that end up funding all of this bullshit that ends up being attacks. Now, the liberal hive mind here is going to talk a little bit about this, and he's going to explain to you, really break it down even better than I can, what the result of this is. And it's a purposeful escalation by the left. They start with their bullshit protest. Then it escalates to small forms of violence where they're chasing around and attacking conservatives. They're chasing around and yelling and attacking ICE agents. And then some people are hurt or they're shot. And then they all come out on videos and they escalate it to, well, now things are out of control. Our rights are being taken away from us, and it needs to be violence in the streets. You need to take your weapons and you need to use them against ICE. He's going to show this in this video. This is the escalation that they do, and it's done on purpose. The left doesn't have any moral high ground to stand on. They advocate for pedophiles. They advocate for criminals. They advocate for illegals. They advocate for the worst of everyone that you can possibly deal with or run into. And then they get upset if they face repercussions for their actions. For everybody else that has a functioning brain that says, this is wrong and we oppose this, we don't want this. So they fight back against it, they hurt people, and then they go, oh, well, now we hurt people, but then we got hurt, so now we're really angry about being hurt. So now we need to get all of our weapons, and there needs to be violence in the streets as a response. This is what the left, Democrats, and these non-profit NGOs are doing, and the push that they're making here. So now let's learn about this piece of shit, Preddy, about who he really is.
Refused to jump on the narrative that she was a victim of an ICE murder. We got an article here from the Post-Millennial. They're reporting that the parents of the rioter Alex Jeffrey Preddy, the individual who was shot by CBP in Minnesota, have now revealed to the media that they warned their son not to engage with the feds. The left is presenting this story as unbelievable. How could this happen? But it appears even his own parents could see it from a mile away.
So his parents knew he was a left-wing piece of shit.
What could potentially happen
and they
if
said,
you engage in violent
don't go to
destructionist
these
behavior.
protests and
They
riots.
warned him
Don't
not
engage.
to
engage.
do it.
Don't
and then
become
he did
involved.
it. And even worse, he did it while he was armed with a deadly weapon.
He didn't
Let me
listen.
show you guys the latest report, and then of course let's continue to dismantle all these left-wing nonsense narratives. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I got a little snippet from the article here. Quote, he cared about people deeply, and he was very upset with what was happening in Minneapolis and throughout the United States with ICE, as millions of other people are upset. Michael Preddy, Alex's father, said. He felt that doing the protesting was a way to express that, his care for others. In recent conversations with the 37-year-old son, Preddy's parents had told him not to engage with federal officers. We had this discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so, that go ahead and protest, but do not engage, do not do anything stupid, basically, Michael Preddy added per CBS News. And he said that he knows that, he knew that. They literally warned him not to do the exact thing that he did. Because like most people who are rational human beings, you understand the risk. When you're poking the bear, especially doing so, again, with a deadly weapon, well, you could earn a very stupid prize. You could pay the ultimate price. And so what happened here is obviously this guy ignored some very sober advice, the proper advice from his parents who, of course, loved him and didn't want to see him harmed, and he put himself on the front line in a deadly situation and paid the price. But of course, we're headed towards an election year, and so that simply cannot be the conclusion drawn here. No. Instead, Minneapolis has to burn down once more, another autonomous zone. Here we go with all the leftoids, all the Democrat politicians, now adding more fuel to the fire. This guy didn't engage in multiple felonies while armed, while carrying a concealed weapon without any identification or his required legal permit, while violently resisting arrest, physically assaulting ICE, physically assaulting CBP agents, and no warning that he was carrying a deadly weapon either. No, the left wants to blame tyranny. There's a whole lot of things to blame here, and most of them, I would argue, land on this Alex Preddy character, but according to the left, it's fascism, of course, the tyranny narrative, and you're seeing it everywhere. AOC's out here saying, we have a responsibility to protect Americans from tyranny. It's actually incredible how little ethics these people have, how absolutely disgusting this is. And of course, this rhetoric serves nothing but emboldening the disgusting people that we're seeing on the streets and engaging in violent rhetoric online.
It's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Show up,
See,
ready to go.
Here's another leftist piece of shit.
Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is exactly what I said was going to come when we didn't go and march on Whipple with guns. Sorry, but welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you protected from literal Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people
There's
in the
no
street
Nazis.
with impunity.
This is all the left is the Nazis.
Guns and stop
they call them
these
that.
people.
Remember when we used to hang deer in the yard? Hey, Ice, I got thoughts about what we should do with you.
You can just kill ICE agents. You know that? You can just kill them.
So
you don't
none
have
of the
to hold your
leftist
phone in their face.
who the crazy eyes again. That's what they all are. They're crazy, mentally ill people. Now you got this woman who's apparently cut her breasts off, and she's probably trying to become a guy, so a tranny, and another one complaining about it too. The left is everyone that should be in an insane asylum, and they're not there. And they're able to walk the streets, and we have to deal with them, we have to live with them, and we have to work with them. That's what the left is. So if you weren't already concerned about what the left is, you need to take a bigger look at what the left really is. The left is actual violence. The left is actual Nazis. The left is actually the ones that are out of their minds. And take a look at this dyke that's cutting their body parts off. If the other two faggots didn't convince you, take a look at this one.
And ask people when their birthday is, and ask people what their name is, and then try to find wherever they end up. In Los Angeles, you can kill them.
So you see why she has no shirt on, she's not doing anything, because she's cut her breasts off already. That's a woman who's becoming a guy. You are mentally ill to the highest degree if you're cutting body parts off and trying to swap them with other things. You are so far gone, you're almost not worth saving. There's very few who detransition and figure out that the road that they chose was completely the wrong road, which you should know from day one if your brain functions. But if it takes you a little more time, fine, as long as you come back from it after you're done. But you can see that dumb bitch right there was topless because she doesn't have breasts anymore. She's transitioning into a dude. Or it was a dude that's transitioning into whatever. I can't tell these people apart anymore.
Understand this environment. We understand what's going on. The issue is left-wing radicalism and Democrats emboldening these people and mobilizing these people on the streets. But according to them, it's tyranny. It's ICE's fault. I keep seeing that people are saying that ICE is escalating things. Even Dave Smith said that on X yesterday. But really? It's the ICE agents that are escalating? That's completely insane and backwards. There's no issue of tyranny here. ICE is not the problem. CBP is not the problem. Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, name any cabinet official, they're not the problem. It's clear that Minnesota under Democrat leadership is the problem. And here's the perfect post to put that into perspective. 23% of all ICE arrests occur in Texas. This is a fact, by the way. We covered the government statistics the other day that line up with this opening statement. 2.2% occur in Minnesota. A tenfold difference. Yet far more ICE-related violence is happening in Minnesota. Why? Well, because Democrats are promoting and provoking violence in the state. Democrats do not hate violence. Violence is their goal. You know, if you just detach from the partisan nonsense,
this is what Democrats want. They're pushing for it. That's why they're coming out with their bullshit.
It's impossible to argue against. I mean, those
meetings
are the
with media, the press conferences, and saying, "Oh, we want this to stop. We're telling Republicans to stop. We're telling Trump to stop."
They
want all this. They love it because it all works in their benefit.
Straight from their playbook to undermine government. Number 1, agitate law enforcement, get in their face, spit on them, assault them. Number 2, trigger a response and use of force by law enforcement. Number 3, film the use of force and publicize it out of context. Number 4, use the mainstream media and social media to inflame the public with a false narrative. And number 5, trigger a riot to overthrow government. They tried this last summer in Los Angeles and it did not work. We aggressively arrested and charged violators on the spot and called in the National Guard. We restored law and order in California. The Justice Department will do the same in Minnesota. I agree 100%, especially on that last part that the Justice Department needs to act. You know, I was calling for Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act last week. Frankly, I think had he invoked it, this wouldn't have happened. But now I think is the time. I mean, it's high time to invoke the Insurrection Act. People are saying, oh, no, don't do it because Democrats are going to weaponize it. Well, they're weaponizing this already. I mean, what more can they weaponize? And they're winning the narrative battle right now. This chaos feeds into their propaganda machine. You gotta put an end to it. Basic civility and order has to be restored. What is happening in Minnesota is unjustifiable. It's mob rule, mob violence, domestic terrorism on the streets. And the more you let them do it, the more you allow this to continue, the more you put these federal officers in harm's way, and the more fuel you give to the left to build on these narratives. It is
and that's 100% correct. One of the things you'll notice with all of these attacks that are happening right now, ISIS by themselves, where's the police? They're not there. How about just restoring peace in general? So separating the violent leftist public from the ICE agents while the ICE agents do their job, and then you can oversee the ICE agents and make sure that they're not acting out of turn or harming anybody else that's there, right? You can establish a degree of separation. That isn't happening. The police aren't there. And that's being done on purpose. The ICE agents are being left on their own to survive on their own. So if there's a group of 6, it's 6 versus 100 or 200. Whatever left-wing losers are there that are surrounding them, hurling insults at them, and snowballs and trash and whatever else they can. ICE is by themselves. There is no police presence in order to stabilize the area. Keep the protesters separate from ICE, and ICE and protesters separate from regular tax-paying citizens that don't want to be involved in everything. You're not seeing any cops. That's being done on purpose. They're telling the police, don't stand down, don't assist ICE, do not go to the area. ICE is on their own. So this tactic is already being done on purpose, because if you had the police there, not only would you have the degree of separation, you'd also have the degree of accountability, right? Because if ICE got out of control and harmed a citizen, the police could step in against ICE and you would have a buffer between the entire situation. Except the police aren't there. So ICE has to not only do their job and arrest illegals, they have to fight off the violent radical left that their job is to communicate with each other, follow them around in vehicles, and harass them, taunt them, and in some cases, like this Gretty and fucking Good, attack them. All of them, Good was leading a convoy of leftist protesters. She was the head car. She was trained as a professional activist. That information came out. and Goody or Gretty or whatever this loser's name was, same deal, leftist loser who decided to put himself into a protest and then engage with ICE and get into a scuffle with them. You could have stayed on the sidewalk and stayed out of it. Yelled whatever your bullshit and done whatever you wanted to do. No, he had to get in their face and he had to get directly involved while being armed. If you attack me while being armed, my thought is the end result is you're going to try and kill me. You're going to try and pull that weapon. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pull my weapon first, or I'm going to try to use it on you. I'm not going to take the risk that you're going to leave it to a fist fight when you're armed with a pistol. Because if you wanted a fist fight, why'd you come with a pistol? It's like that saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Because you're going to lose. The other guy's got a gun. But you brought a knife, you're already escalating the entire thing.
Completely out of control. These people are engaging in street-level violence. They're inciting violence online with constant calls to kill ICE agents. They've got databases set up to track ICE, and they're stalking them and harassing them and impeding them everywhere they go.
And I'm going to show you that because
we're
Cam
just
Higbee
learning that one of the
is
individuals
providing
leading
proof
one
of their signal
is
chat.
Actually a Tim Walz campaign strategist.
And that's what he's
Minnesota
talking about.
Signal Group leader identified as Amanda Kohler, a protest organizer and campaign strategist for Tim Walz.
She works for Tim
what the
Walz.
hell is going on?
So
These
Tim
people
Walz
are
and his
complete
crew are the ones
lunatics.
that are
And
helping
again,
to
it goes the
organize
very tip
these
top.
violent
And now
protests
they're
and
trying
rioters.
to gaslight you as if they're the side of reason. No, my friends, they're the side of treason. They're causing abject chaos and destruction. They're using these useful idiots that they're mobilizing on the streets as cannon fodder, and then taking the tragedy that they enabled to gaslight the public and pretend as if, they're taking the high road and they're on the right ethical side. Tim Walz is now talking about sending in the National Guard. Donald Trump wants chaos and we must not respond. We can't give them what they...
So, first of all, and this is for TikTok, God knows if that's going to stay up or not. So, Tim Walz is showing you right now, Minnesota Signal Group leader identified as Amanda Kohler, a protest organizer and campaign strategist for Tim Walz. The people that are putting together the protests and the rioters work for the Democrats in their campaign. They're working for Tim Walz. So Tim Walz is claiming ICE needs to go away. What they're doing is bad. Also, we want peace and we don't want violence. And his people, so he's providing a degree of separation. His people are running the Signal Group. Cam Higbee is providing proof right here on X of the people that are in the Signal Group run by Tim Walz's crew, who are following ICE around the city, dispatching to multiple areas where they are, license plate checkers so they can identify who they are, and then either sending threats or attacking them directly. I'm gonna get into that, and then I'm gonna show you the Minnesota National Guard. These useless pieces of shit. They're out here right now, and what they have them doing, whether they're following orders or they're doing this voluntarily or both, they're handing out food and water to the protesters. This is what the National Guard in Minnesota is doing. Check this out.
Leaved some tension in the air.
Our cameras caught National Guard members at the Whipple Federal Building handing out donuts, coffee, hot chocolate to demonstrators and others gathered outside. A guardsman on the scene told us this is their demonstration of safety and security and that they're here to help. A small gesture that went a long way.
I think that's true Minnesota energy. This is all about community. We're all kind of taking turns or sharing warm drinks, warm food, hand warmers. That's kind of what Minnesota is all about. So I'm glad to see that our National Guard is standing with us because we need it.
Governor Tim Walz activated the Minnesota National Guard yesterday to help Hennepin County law enforcement with crowd control.
So then there's no crowd control at all. These National Guard are fucking useless pieces of shit. What I want to know is, are these assholes voluntarily doing this, or they've been ordered to do it? If they've been ordered to do this, all of them should be discharged. They're fucking traitors. Handing out food to rioters, protesters, and people of chaos that are going after ICE agents and going after an ICE facility. These fucking scumbags are the worst the military can offer. Fucking pieces of shit. They're the ones I don't thank for your service. I think you're fucking assholes. You're handing out food to the worst people that Minnesota can provide to the United States. That's what Tim Walz has got going right now. So I want to know, are you been ordered to do this, or are you voluntarily doing this? Because every one of you assholes that are voluntarily doing this, Trump should kick them all out of the service. You all should be dishonorably discharged. Go back to your shit jobs and go fuck yourselves. You're fucking pieces of shit. But that's what the National Guard are doing right now. Are they safeguarding ICE? Are they keeping people from getting shot? Are they doing anything useful? No. They're feeding rioters and protesters with donuts and coffee. Absolute scumbags. So let's continue on.
Want. The implication is that ICE is causing the chaos on the street and they're just taking the higher road. It's freaking insane. They're the ones engaging in the chaos. ICE is dealing with their BS, with their street level terrorism as they attempt to do their job to apprehend illegal criminals off the streets. They're the ones radicalizing people by constantly lying about 5-year-old being arrested by ICE, American citizens being disappeared, Renee Good senselessly murdered for no apparent reason, as if she didn't drive a 4,000-pound vehicle directly at an ICE agent. They're not the voice of reason. They're the voice of chaos. And yet they gaslight us. Tim Walz talking about, oh, it's time to quell the riots. I'm sending in the National Guard. But just like last time, he's got them posted up doing nothing. They're not even at the action zone. Meanwhile, there's riots happening, another Antifa autonomous zone, and yet Tim Walz is doing nothing. No police presence, no National Guard. The National Guard should have been deployed weeks ago, protecting these ICE agents so they don't have people like Alex Preddy physically assaulting them in the streets. I mean, we have another friggin' story of an ICE agent who had his finger bit off by a radical leftist psycho. I can't show you guys the photo, obviously, because it's gruesome, but I guess I could show you
so an ICE agent with his finger bitten
off.
off.
I need to show it anyways. I'm sure
by
you
a
guys
radical
have seen it, or if
leftist
you
nut
haven't,
job.
just simply Google search it. It's real. And yet again, these people are gaslighting you as if Trump's the problem. Amy Klobuchar's taking to the podium to address the media with this smoke and mirrors nonsense. Donald Trump is not making us safer, as evidenced by the shooting of Alex Preddy.
We call on our Republican colleagues to stand with us.
And Miss Klobuchar, this fucking
going
piece
on
of
here,
shit.
because it's happening in their own districts. We have, of course,
by the way,
shootings,
this woman is going to
a
run
lot
for
more
governor
than
because
They
Tim
know
Walz dropped
that
out.
something's wrong when a
The
mom
word
or
is that her team is
pulled
prepping
out
her
of a
to run
house
for governor.
in his
So,
underwear and
of course, this is her
and they figure
drive
out about an hour later
to
they got the wrong guy,
to be
and in
more
fact,
in the
guy they were
spotlight.
looking
She doesn't
for
give a
is
fuck about
actually
any
in
of these
jail.
people.
Or a 2-year-old, a case my office worked on, in addition to hundreds more, who's taken with her dad and then put on a plane to Texas when her mom is desperately trying to get her. We got her back, but none of this should be happening. None of it. So we call on our Republican colleagues to join us.
But you Democrats are inflaming it. You're
this
pushing it. You
administration.
want
I
these
have
illegals. You want the
warned
extra
them
voter base.
that there would be
This
more
is
deaths,
your
that more
fault.
of this
The
would
American,
happen.
they're
And
trying to
clearly they're
gaslight
not
you.
listening. So we ask people
The American
around the
people
country
voted for this to
talk
happen.
their
The Democrats don't
Republican
like it because they're
representatives
losing their
to make
extra voter
clear
base.
that
This is why you got
not
dumb
the
cunts like
America
her standing up right here blowing smoke up your ass.
One person dies because they gaslit him into taking to the streets and doing something that his parents warned against, something clearly, patently stupid, and that's evidence that Donald Trump is the problem and he's making Minnesota and America less safe. It's insane, and there's no talk about all the various criminals that they've taken off the streets, tens of thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them. No talk about the countless lives that are being saved as fentanyl overdoses continue to drop, or the homicide reduction across big cities this year, I think down by 30%, which of course is thanks to the National Guard deployments striking fear in the hearts of criminals across the nation, and of course the crackdown on illegal criminals and crime syndicates and cartels. Donald Trump is not making America less safe, he's saving countless lives, and you people are getting in his way violently. It's insane. It's the most backwards shit I've ever seen. It's a freaking psyop, and so many people have fallen for it, and now they believe they have the moral authority to threaten to shut down the government. It's absolutely insane. If you are getting cold feet right now, if you're falling for this emotional crap, you are playing directly into their little political games. It's about policy and legislation. It's about keeping the border open. It's about winning the 2026 elections. They're doing it on purpose. They're relying on hoaxes and tragic events that they enable so they can then turn around and incite more mass anti-government uprisings and then weaponize that and claim that it's all Donald Trump's fault. I mean, we've been through this before. We saw it during 2020. And even recently, I've actually gone back and watched some of my older videos and some other videos from other creators during the BLM riots, and it's crazy. It's uncanny how what we were saying then matches up perfectly with what's happening right now. I'm just sitting here asking myself, how did people not learn the lesson the first time? How are people falling for this? They're poking the bear, triggering a response, and then gaslighting the public into essentially doing their political bidding. Wake up. This is not tyranny. This is weaponization of tragedy from the Democrat freaking establishment. Purposeful incitement, now creating martyrs, false martyrs, to fuel uprisings, to blackmail the public into supporting them, to blackmail the feds into stopping deportation and further enabling their lawlessness. It's clear.
And that's exactly what it is. It's nothing but a terror campaign. This is what the left does. The left doesn't have a moral high ground to stand on. They don't have a legitimate argument to have with you. So when you can't argue a point with somebody or have a debate in order to come to a conclusion or at least a compromise between you and the other party, you have to beat the other person over the head with something. And then you have to force them to agree with your thing. So the left is not on the side of Americans. They are not on the side of the Constitution. This is an argument that's happening now that the left is coming out with, and they're saying, all of you that love the Constitution and love the Second Amendment, now you're turning on people that have guns, and you're turning on people that are fighting against tyranny. No, we're turning against traitors. You have a gun, and you're not defending American citizens. You are turning it on ICE that's doing the will and the bidding of the American people, and you want to point that gun at ICE. And then you want to go, hey, I'm exercising my Second Amendment. How come you don't support me? Because you're a radical anarchist? That's why we're not supporting you. Then they try to tell you that the way you guys are acting is exactly the same as the people that supported the British against American citizens, against the colonists. No, it isn't. They were fighting literally for their freedom against the police force, the military force, against the authority. You idiots are rebelling against the people who are trying to get dangerous illegals out of the country and keep American citizens safe. How does that remotely have anything to do with the colonists versus the British for the Revolutionary War? Zero. You are taking the sides of dangerous illegals that are, one, ripping off the American taxpayer and setting up fake daycares. Two, raping people's daughters. And there's multiple accounts of that, going from Laken Riley to others that I can't even think of right now. Attacking and brutally raping and murdering their daughters. Taking over apartment buildings. The Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan scumbag gangs. Taking over apartment buildings in states. Robbing people and then disappearing and jumping back across the border again. This is what the left is defending. That has absolutely nothing to do with the revolution. With the American Revolution. The people were fighting for their rights. Their right to have their voice heard. Their right to live their own life and be left alone. They weren't advocating for the worst of people. They weren't advocating for illegals that shouldn't be there. They weren't advocating for scum and rapists. They were advocating to have their own lives and have their own country. Even if they had to pay taxes to a king on the other side of the ocean, they were willing to do it as long as it was peaceful and they got left alone. These leftists are advocating not for American citizens, not for innocent people. They're advocating for the worst scum that's in this country, which is they themselves. All of these radical leftists are criminals, pedophiles, ex-military that got kicked out. One of the guys that was in the church raid that got arrested, these leftists like to say, oh, I'm a vet. You're a vet? Yeah, I'm a vet too. Then you come to find out when you look at their record, they were dishonorably discharged. They were pieces of shit. They could never hack it. They got kicked out. They're not military. They're scum. That's like getting into a job and then getting fired a week later because you're a thief or you hit someone. That doesn't mean you're a worker. You're part of the workforce. It doesn't mean you're a good person. You're a piece of shit. And that's what these leftists are. I'm the one saying, oh, I'm a vet. What do you think about that? You were dishonorably discharged. You're a piece of garbage. You couldn't even hack it in the fucking military. Which ingrains the whole thing into your brain and turns you into a good little soldier. You couldn't even fucking hack that. Being turned into a drone. You couldn't even hack that. You were such a fucking failure loser. And that's what these people are, and they're pretending that they're vets and that they're fighting for this country. The left are not patriots. This is not... The left are trying to pretend that like this is their revolution. That they are the colonists fighting back against the British. Nothing of what they're doing is even remotely close to that fight. They are fighting and advocating for criminals, illegals, rapists, pedophiles, the worst people that could be in this country. That's what they're advocating for. And they're saying that they're fighting back against tyranny by supporting those people. Imagine saying I'm a real patriot because I'm fighting to support the pedophile down the road. Make that conversation make sense with anyone. If you have a functioning brain, you can't. You're not a patriot. You're a traitor. You're a piece of shit. But the one thing you're not is a patriot. You don't love this country. You hate it. And what the left loves to do, it's like the devil quoting scripture. The left loves to use the Constitution and the Bill of Rights for their own regard. And then they try to throw it back at the rest of us and go, oh, what? This fat fucking piece of shit that we got over here with the gun that says he's going to protect illegals? You don't like that he's exercising his Second Amendment? No, the guy's a traitor. He's dangerous. He's not exercising his Second Amendment. He's trying to defend criminals. Imagine I'm a licensed gun owner, a legal gun owner. Imagine if I stand on the sidewalk, armed with my shotgun. Some guys roll up in a car and they rob a bank. And I stand on the sidewalk with my shotgun and I go, leave them alone. I'm just exercising my Second Amendment right. How dare you question me? What the does that make any fucking sense? I'm protecting criminals. I'm part of the robbery at this point. I'm an accessory. If you have a gun and you're legally armed and you're standing on the sidewalk and you're saying, I'm here to oppose ICE and defend illegals, you are an accessory to a criminal act. You are a criminal. You are not exercising your Second Amendment right. You're a fucking criminal. You're a radical. You're an anarchist. You can't be trusted. It's not cool that you're standing there with your gun. You are breaking the law, or you are prepared to break the law. Just like this piece of shit that just got shot today, or the other day. Opposing ICE. He showed up with his gun. Did he pull it on ICE? Apparently not. But he ended up engaging with ICE. Getting into a scuffle with ICE. And as I said earlier in this video, if you're not prepared to do something, then you don't prepare for it. If I pack my gun and then I go to a rally or a protest, I am prepared for trouble or problems. I am also prepared to hit a particular line where I am willing to pull the gun at that point and point it at somebody. If I hadn't already made those decisions prior to walking out of my house, I never would have done it. When I travel to work, I have my gun in my vehicle to protect myself. Not to use it against anybody else, but I already have a plan because that weapon is in my vehicle. And that plan is, I will defend myself and I will lawfully and legally use this weapon. So I've already made a plan before walking out my front door. This guy that just got shot by ICE in Minnesota, he had a plan too. The left can twist it whatever way they want. I don't care that he was a legal owner. I don't care that he was following the Second Amendment. You left your house with a gun. You went to an anti-ICE rally where you were prepared to confront ICE. I'm guaranteeing you right now, that guy had a line that he was going to reach at some point within all of that situation where he would have been prepared to pull the gun. He just never got the opportunity to do it because ICE shot him first. And that's the whole point in these situations of being law enforcement and dealing with somebody who's a danger, who's a scumbag, is, it's like a shootout in the Wild West. You want to be the one that shoots first. Both of you have guns. You're the one that wants to shoot first. Who doesn't understand that? That guy went to that protest and that riot. They're all basically turning into riots, where they're harassing and going after ICE agents. He got in their face. He's wrestling with them. He's fighting with them. His next act, wherever his line was going to be to pull that weapon at some point. Or he never would have left his house with it. Just because you're a legal owner of a gun doesn't mean you have to walk out your door with it. When you do, you're making a decision. And the decision is, if something happens, if I get to point A or point B in my travels today, I'm going to pull that weapon. He chose a specific event. He didn't go shopping. He didn't go to work at the hospital. He went to an anti-ICE rally. His intention was violence. His intention was getting into a situation. And he had the gun on him, but he didn't get to pull it. ICE got to him first, and he ended up getting shot. That doesn't make him an innocent person. He had his weapon with him. He planned on violence. You just, what? You wanted to have it on you and to pretend that you were a tough guy because you got a weapon on your hip? You don't have to do that. No one gives a fuck. Show you're a tough guy by going there and just exercising your bullshit First Amendment to yell at ICE officers. Stand on the sidewalk, follow the rules, and yell at them from the appropriate place. You don't need your fucking gun to do that. You do if you want trouble. And again, like I said, who was going to attack him? His fellow leftists that are on his side? Of course not. He's perfectly safe from them. They all love him. He's a fellow left-wing loser, just like they are. So you're going to defend yourself with ICE? Why would ICE arrest or attack you if you're an American citizen? So your plan was to use this against ICE, to use it somewhere in that area in some sort of situation, because you were angry about what ICE was doing and you wanted to take it out on them. And he never got the opportunity. I don't have any sympathy for this piece of shit. He's a Second Amendment. He's exercising his Second Amendment. He's a fucking traitor. He's a piece of shit. He wanted to act against his country. That's not how the Second Amendment works. Turn on your country? And that's not how our forefathers did it either. They didn't turn on their country. They were defending their country against a tyranny. ICE isn't tyranny. Trump was voted in. He's told ICE to do the job and the will of the people, and ICE is arresting illegals that shouldn't be here. Not attacking American citizens. They're defending themselves from radical leftists that are unfortunately American citizens. But they're not attacking. Their goal isn't to go out and hurt American citizens. Their goal is to round up dangerous illegals. Or illegals, period. They're all criminals. The left is fighting back against the literal will of the people. 77 million people voted in Trump, and they said, close our borders and get all the illegals out. The left is fighting back against that. The left are the anarchists. The left are essentially the British in this situation. They are fighting back against the rule and law of this country that the people have demanded happen. So it's ridiculous that they claim that they're the just cause. Now, Cam Higbee here, as I told you, one of Tim Walz's campaign members is the one that's running this Signal chat. that is putting out these violent protesters and rioters, sending them all over the city in order to engage and go after ICE. So let's see what he has to say here. I've been undercover inside the groups for days, says Cam Higbee. You'll notice emojis next to people's names. Here's a key for what those emojis mean. The highlighted positions are the most crucial. Most are self-explanatory. Mobile patrols spend their entire shift searching for suspicious vehicles. When they find one, they send it to the group so that they plate checkers can compare with their database and see if it's a known federal vehicle or if the patrol can make the confirmation so that the database can be updated. Dispatch runs a maxed out call all day telling protesters where ICE has been spotted and how they best can be impeded, okay? You know, when you have people that are following, you see this in movies, when they put a plate through a database and they're following the person around because they think they're suspicious. These leftist scumbags are doing this in real life. They're following these people around. By the way, the leftists in Minnesota have been so bad, anyone that they even think could be a member of ICE, they are confronting these people and attacking these people, many who end up being innocent and are just driving their personal vehicle and have nothing to do with it. They're flagging them down, surrounding their vehicles, they're stopping them on the street and on the sidewalk, and they're verbally or physically attacking them if they have any belief at all that they could be part of ICE. So you're wearing a camo jacket, you're wearing a dark winter beanie that doesn't look right. Anything that has a potential that you could be ICE or affiliated with them, they're going after them without any information or just cause whatsoever. If they think you could potentially be a part of it, they're going after you. So not only are they targeting ICE directly, they're also targeting anyone that essentially doesn't look like them. If it's you or me that's walking down the road and we look like we could be ICE or an ICE, we could be communicating with ICE or helping them in some way, shape, or form, they're going to mob us because they think that we could be doing it. That's what's happening in Minnesota right now. What Cam Higbee is exposing right here is the signal chat being run by one of Tim Walz's administration where they are communicating with each other. See, mobile patrol, dispatch, license plate checker, a medic, aftercare provider, hyper-local group messenger, school transport safety spotters, stationary patrol. Here's what some of these shitbags have. She's got another one here. Join the call in Bloom General. Tonight we will offer a Bloomington Patrol training at 8 p.m. A signal call is limited to 75 users. We will offer additional training sessions at future dates. So if you do not get to attend, know there'll be other sessions at 8 p.m. tonight. Please join the call in this chat. Do not join the active RR call expecting training, please. We have 41 slides to cover. Should take about an hour. Looking forward to passing on some knowledge to this group. This is the anti-ICE people. They're setting up video chats, communicating with each other about how you can be disruptive, how you can target ICE, how you can keep going after them in your day-to-day loser lives. Here's some messages here. Hogger B. I still haven't been able to take a patrol training. Was previously in the patrol training group, but left since I wasn't actively engaging. Requesting to rejoin several days ago when I finally had time to do it and still have not been let in. Does anyone know how I go about getting back in patrol training group or what other training options there are? Patrol group is going after ICE, following them around the city and harassing them. This is what these losers are communicating about. Kit Kat She Her tells you everything you need to know. Statement by Rep Tabke regarding proposed ICE detention center in Shakopee. Posting here as this will impact our entire metro and Shakopee is our neighbor. Contact info for property management line incoming. Sharing our Bloomington Patrol Zone map, which is loosely based on city council districts. So they're showing where to patrol and where they want everybody. Zone 1, Zone 4B, 4A, 3A, 3B, and where they're all going to be and where they're going to harass ICE agents. So I'm going to go back to this here. Minnesota ICE plates data documentation. There is a crowdsourced database of license plates identified as potentially ICE in Minnesota. It was built from a combination of different lists initially created by concerned neighbors across the Twin Cities. We've been collaborating with these widespread groups to attempt to build out a comprehensive list to share. While we've done our best to review and verify submitted information, we cannot guarantee everything in the database is accurate. It's a continuing work in progress, and we appreciate your patience with improvements and your submissions to improve the data that we have. Because this database is a work in progress, please check back here for updated links as we provide more information. So access the data, ice plate search, Minnesota ice plates air table database, which has got plate list, plate dashboard, plates lookup, plate checkers, submit ice plates, Minnesota ice plates form, identifying ice in Minnesota, facts, how are you determining if a plate is confirmed ice? So all of these groups, these fucking losers, they're all targeting ICE. They're putting their plates out there. They're finding their vehicles. They're following them around the city, and they're going out of their way to target them. So let me ask you something. Imagine if you and I right now, wherever you are in your local town, imagine if you got together with a couple of your neighbors and you said, Cop A, I really hate him. I hate what he's done. He pulled over this guy, and then he was investigating a robbery over here. I don't like him. I've gotten his plate in the cruiser he drives. Let's go all out. Let's get together, and let's follow him around town and target him and just go that route. How well do you think that would go for you and I if we went out of our way to start putting down plates, vehicles, descriptions of people, and we started following law enforcement or federal officers around like we're hunting them under the guise of we're just driving on city streets and we're minding our business? What they're doing here and what this is showing is they're putting a network together to hunt these people, to know where they are, who they are, and then when you find them, not just follow them and inform people that they're there, but target them, get out of your vehicles, harass them, swear at them, throw things and trash at them. This is a concerted effort by all of this left-wing trash to target ICE agents, harass them, go after them, be in their faces 24/7, find them wherever they can. Don't let them do their job. Harass them and get in their faces and allow dangerous illegals and other criminals to get away while harassing them. So imagine if you and I in your neighborhood got together and harassed our entire police force, followed them around, followed their cruisers around, honked our horns, blew whistles, threw snowflakes at them, snowballs at them, and got in their faces and blocked them at four-way intersections so they couldn't help anybody in town and they couldn't do their job. Imagine what that would be and what your town would turn into when none of them can do their job because you don't like something that they're doing. Now, if you don't like something that's happening, what you're supposed to do is go to your representation, your politicians, and say, I don't like this and I don't like that, and I'm reaching out to say that I don't like it. You don't become some anarchist vigilante and start driving in front of cops, cutting them off, or getting in their faces all day as they drive around town and screaming at them and throwing things at them. I mean, that's not the way any of this works, but this is the way the left works, and the left is allowed to get away with it. This is why when they're talking about turning the heat down with ICE, getting rid of ICE, I'm saying you need to turn it up. I'm saying that all of these leftists that are doing all this, that are in these signal chats, that are in these networks communicating with each other, acting like some rebel platform that's going after federal and law enforcement, they need to be stopped. They need to be shut down. Whatever way needs to be done. So this is people changing their names within the profile. Southside RR. In a chat.
White Chevy Silverado with the newly changed plates with the coexist sticker on the back. We're on Irving and Lake Street going north on Irving. We seem to be the only commuters following. Just wanted to give an update on our location.
Thank you. Do you have anyone in the car with you?
Yes, I do.
Lovely. Thank you.
And we are getting a photo sent to the chat for confirmation.
This is John 612 that we are at Grand and Lake. We're heading heading toward Irving. We can try and join you.
Thank you, John 612.
Hey, this is Lokito. I'm getting some messages from the WhatsApp group that they're driving around on 28, 29 Pleasant and Pillsbury Avenue. If you want to swing by there first, I'm making my way down that way as well. I am on Lake and Park.
I'll relay to the Spanish town, or sorry, relay to the Uptown Whittier.
Tired.
Thanks, Erin.
That Ford just gray Ford just passed.
On the car. It's empty. That's it.
Please go on mute. John 6.
So assumingly this is one of Cam Higby's people that he's used to infiltrate this group, and they are showing in real time their participation with the rest of these leftist losers and what they're doing in Minnesota. So it's showing you a network here. All these deadbeat losers with no jobs and no life, they're driving around, they're participating in a network, they're communicating their locations to each other, they're tracking each other on a map, and they're showing where they are, where they're going after ICE, where ICE might be, and where they can rally together so they can intercept ICE and then they can harass those people that are trying to do their job. This is Cam Higby because he said that he has some undercover people in this group that are feeding him information. This appears to be that because this woman is recording the map and where they're driving here, recording the communications willingly. So she is making this video, this person is making this video available to Cam, and he's showing what these people are doing. So these deadbeat losers, either they're being paid for it, or they're losers with no life and they're doing this in their free time. And they're driving around the city, they're coordinating together, they're following around ICE, and their job is to follow them, call ICE out where they are in order so they can give the heads up to any illegals or any criminals in the area. This is what pieces of shit they are. Illegals or criminals in the area, so they can get away, or they can warn them and they can get away. And then also they can corner the ICE agents and they can pull in front of them, slow them down, cut them off, harass them, yell profanity at them, and and generally get in their way and slow them down.
612, please go on mute.
It's going to be a right, the next right.
Lokito, go ahead.
The next right's coming.
Yeah, that gray F-150 just drove past me on the opposite way towards Cedar. That was on Lake and Park.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, we've got 2 commuters behind that F-150.
That's confirmed.
Do we have anyone in this call who's at 28th, 29th Pleasant right now? Lokito, you're not there, correct?
Don't wave at them. Do not wave.
Correct, I am on 3rd and Lake. I will be there in probably like 2 or 3 minutes.
This is Liv. I'm at Cedar and Lake going west. Do you want me to keep an eye out?
I'm concerned about the reports from the Spanish WhatsApp about 28th to 29th and Pleasant. Ern's relaying to Uptown, but Lokito, if you could head there, if you're up for heading there, and you're only a minute or 2 out, that'd be great.
So anyone that's just joining in, because we have new viewers, new listeners joining in, this is Cam Higby. He's got people that have infiltrated the left-wing groups that are tracking and harassing ICE in Minnesota. I believe this is one of the people that is an informant for him. They're showing the map location. They're showing travel routes that they're using. They're showing communication on this video, that they are a network working together, communicating with each other with the specific intent to drive around the city, locate where ICE is so they can inform others and help illegals and criminals escape, and also working together in order to impede these ICE agents. So pull in front of them, block them off, drive in front of them in traffic and slow down. Whatever they can to impede or expose ICE, and then or get out and confront them directly. This is the network, and Cam Higby is showing all of this. It started with signal text, which, by the way, is coming from somebody that works within Tim Walz's campaign. So I'll show this again one more time for everybody that's just joined us that's new. I have been undercover inside the group for days. You'll notice emojis next to people's names. Here's a key for what those emojis mean. The highlighted positions are the most crucial. Most are self-explanatory. Mobile patrols spend their entire shift searching for suspicious vehicles. When they find one, they send it to the group so that the plate checkers can compare with their database and see if it's a known federal vehicle or if the control can make the confirmation so that the database can be updated. Dispatch runs a maxed out call all day telling protesters where ICE has been spotted and how they can be best impeded. So here's a little bit of the list. And by the way, again, this is being run by an administrative person from Tim Walz's campaign. So don't tell me Tim Walz isn't aware of this. He is involved with and assisting ICE agitators, protesters, and rioters to go after ICE and get in their way. So the unvetted chat, while you're on shift, please put an emoji in front of your signal name so we know your role and the location. This person's a mobile patrol. This person's a stationary patrol. This one's foot patrol. This one's a dispatch. They're communicating with everybody that's out there. This one's a hyper-local group messenger. This one's school transport safety spotters. This one's a license plate checker. They're running plates and finding information either online or through somebody they have in the DMV in order to figure out if it's an ICE agent vehicle or it's a regular citizen driving in Minnesota. Medic, aftercare provider. Okay? And then in the other shots here, it goes on to show some of the communications between all of these people in the signal chat where they're having video chats and they're training in order to know how to do the ICE harassment. Here's some more here where they're communicating with each other or they're trying to get involved. I went over that earlier. There are maps of where they're breaking out everything into zones and where they're patrolling within the zones in order for them to find and harass and stop ICE. Their ICE plates database documentation, where there's links and other stuff for them to use in order to run plates. So they're running, you're just driving down the road in Minnesota minding your business. You're a legal tax-paying citizen. You have nothing to do with that. These left-wing shitbags are running your plate if they think you're suspicious. They're running your plate, finding out who you are, and then establishing if you could be an ICE agent, someone that's sympathetic in helping ICE, or you're just a regular citizen. They are deciding this. These radical leftist scumbags are deciding whether you're a good person or a bad person, whether you're okay with them, you're neutral, or what.
Newly changed plates with the coexist sticker on the back. We're on Irving and Lake Street, going north on Irving.
So that video that I showed before I went back, this is the beginning of it. So they're communicating on a voice chat. There's multiple people in it, as you can see. They're showing each of their locations on the map, telling each other where they are, where they're hunting ICE, and then trying to impede them whatever way they can.
We seem to be the only commuters following. Just wanted to give an update on our location.
Thank you. Do you have anyone in the car with you?
Yes, I do.
And this guy is showing their location, routes of either they're taking or the other left-wing shitbags are taking.
These 5 observers
Here's another one.
On there. KM, I'll probably have you stay on that F-150. But anyone else that's on this call that is currently on that F-150, I think we could use our resources and energy better somewhere else.
I agree. If there's somewhere you want to send us, that's great. Otherwise, we could go up into Phillips.
If you want to go up into Phillips, that's great. I'm going to attempt a roll call here in a minute.
So they were following an F-150. It looks like Cam's crew ends up laughing at him because they were following a random person in an F-150 for no reason because they thought that maybe they could be ICE. So now he's recording because they think they're being followed. I don't know, in the silver 4x4. I don't really know. So they've stopped. The ones behind them stopped. There was a stop sign, I'm assuming. railroad crossing. So they're speeding up. They're still being followed by that vehicle. So I don't know if that's Cam's crew or that's some lefties that think that they're being followed by ICE.
Chevy Silverado with the newly changed plates with the coexist sticker on the back. We're on Irving and Lake Street, going north on Irving.
We're not ICE. Why are you guys following us? And they leave like right when we get out of the car. We're not ICE. We're not ICE. We're following them because they were following us.
No? You look suspicious as fuck.
Wait, so should people follow and harass any suspicious looking person?
Harass you. Get out of here.
Why are you guys following us?
Because you're fucking ICE.
We're not ICE.
Oh, and they... Not ICE? Not in an ICE vehicle, right?
No.
Right, get in your truck and get the fuck out.
Why?
Because you need to go. Confirmed ICE.
We're not ICE.
We're American citizens. Yeah, same to the people that you're abducting. Get out.
We're not
It's fucking
being followed.
So yeah, see, Cam's crew was being followed. They pull over. These lefty retards are all going, "Oh, you're ICE. We're following you because they're fucking ICE." It's Cam Higby's crew. They're reporters. They're reporting on these fucking retards.
They came up. We didn't even know they were following us until they came up and said, "We've been following you, reporter."
Go report something.
Okay.
Go to the airport.
We don't want people following us.
Go to the airport.
And hurting us when we get home.
They're not going to hurt you. They're going to stay right behind you. They're going to stay right
all
behind
the
you.
way back to where we're staying, right?
Great.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. Why we're Americans. Why are we being forced out of a neighborhood? We're reporters.
We have Americans being detained.
We're not detaining anybody.
People who are claiming to be federal agents.
Americans aren't being detained. Illegals are. These retards are uninformed. They're idiots.
Yeah, so why are you here, though? I mean, are you going to join the protest against ICE?
We are reporters.
You're reporters with who?
I'm an independent journalist. I sell my footage.
What's your handle?
What's my handle?
Yeah.
I sell my footage.
Really? Yeah, you're pretty established?
I sell my
Where are your
footage.
press credentials?
I have them in my pocket. I've shown them
You have
repeatedly.
press credentials?
Yes, they're in my pocket. 1 second.
And then he's showing them. But so all these losers, so they follow him thinking they're ICE. And it's just him, reporting. But if you're a reporter or you're conservative aligned, as far as they're concerned, you're ICE or you're an ICE supporter as well. And this is what's happening. So, I mean, not clearly, are you able to see the driver? Not clearly, on foot walking the dog, so had to leave the scene. This is some other fucking loser that's just looking out for ICE 2 while she's walking her stupid dog. Not clearly on foot walking the dog, so had to leave. Poonam responding, but confirmed 2 in the front seats. They're just trying to randomly find people and see if they can figure out who they are. I mean, this is what the left is doing. They've created this network of losers who are upset over lawful things happening. ICE is arresting illegals that aren't supposed to be in this country. They're arresting criminals. Imagine getting upset at the police for arresting criminals. That's what all these retards you're seeing in these videos are doing. Getting upset for people arresting criminals. The illegals, I don't give a shit if they cross the border and then after that they lived a life of virtue. You broke the law when you crossed the border. I've used this analogy before. So let's say I'm struggling with my family. I can't feed them. I can't put food on the table. I can't pay my rent. So I go and I rob a bank so I can get the money to put food on my table and pay my rent. And then after that, I never do anything wrong again. The only thing I did was rob that bank to help my family. And then I went back to living my life, being lawful, doing the speed limit, and paying my taxes. Am I good to go? Is it one free ride for that? No, it isn't. I still robbed a bank. It doesn't matter what my circumstances were. Yes, it sucks that I had to feed my family. Yes, it sucks that I had to pay the rent. There are resources out there to help with things like that. Taxpayer money. But that didn't give me the right to rob the bank. So some of these illegals wanted a better life. They wanted a better life for their family. So you broke our country's laws in order to do it. Are we allowed to break our country's laws? No! We have to follow them even more strictly than they do. So Why are they allowed to do this? You're still a criminal. You crossed the border, you broke the law, you're still a criminal. I don't care if you lived a virtuous life after the fact. You did it the wrong way. You got away with it for a short time. But you still have to pay the piper at some point. We didn't forget that you broke the law. Just like in that scenario, no one forgot that I robbed a bank. So you've got the ones that have already broken the law by default. Then you have the other ones that not only broke the law, are stealing or misusing taxpayer dollars, but are also attacking, raping, or robbing American citizens, which are adding more insult, more injury, and more illegal things to their list that they already started. And you've got, the worst part is, you've got these pieces of shit that are in this video that are getting pissed
Why are you guys
that Cam Higbee and his crew are driving through, looking into this and exposing us. These fucking losers and the other ones that are walking on the street.
And they leave like right when we get out of the car. We're not ICE. We're not ICE.
Okay, the other one where this faggot right here that thinks he's a man, that thinks he's American. This fucking piece of shit. I guarantee if his daughter got raped by an illegal, he would change his fucking attitude right quick and in a hurry. The guy's probably a pedophile himself. But I guarantee he would change his attitude on the spot. But do you know why he's not? Because it hasn't happened to him yet. So these people end up thinking they're heroes. They think they're defending the innocent. They're defending those who can't defend themselves. Until the bad situation knocks on their door, and then they go, "Oh, oopsie! I shouldn't have done that. I'm a moron." The rest of us are already aware of what we're dealing with. We're already aware of the dangers that are out there, and we're being proactive with it. I don't want that to happen to my kids. So how about we be proactive and we stop that before it happens? So that other women won't be raped, other women won't be attacked, and faggots like this fucking retard aren't screwing up this country. This fucking piece of shit. So I just wanted to do a video to catch up with the latest shooting and what the real deal is. The left think they're patriots and heroes. They're not. The left think they're on the American side of the Revolutionary War. They're not. They're the enemy. They're defending everything that's bad while ignoring the law that has been set by the people. Not by a tyrannical government, by the people. Trump's not sending ICE out on his own accord. Fuck it, it's party time. The American people asked for this. And these traitors, this scum, are the ones that are turning around and going, "No, we're going to fight back against it." Well, fuck you. You're a traitor. You're not a hero. You're not a good guy. You're not defending anybody or defending your neighborhood. You're a piece of shit. He's probably a pedophile. And he probably doesn't want his fellow pedophiles and criminals caught too. He's garbage. And that's what the left is, and that's what's out there. And so for ICE, ICE, they need to stay the course. Don't give up. Don't back down. Don't let this pressure. This is what the left does. They resort to violence when they don't get their way. And the point is to bludgeon you over the head until you give up and you stop and you walk away. And then they can go back to having their shit lives, and they'll find a new problem to piss and moan about. They don't go real problems like how high your electric bill is, how high your tax bill is, or your excise. You notice the left isn't out there protesting any of that. How high is your electric bill right now? How high are the subsidies that they're putting on it? How high is that right now? And have you noticed any leftist radicals out there protesting in order to lower your electric bill? Have you noticed one? Can you give me one? No. But they are out there defending dangerous illegals that in one way or another have broken the law and are trying to hurt American citizens. That's what the left's doing. They are not here to help their communities. They are not here to safeguard Americans. They are here to be anarchists. They are here to defend the worst that society has to offer because they are the worst the society has to offer. And thieves look out for, thick as thieves, they look out for each other. They are the worst trash and they will defend other trash. They're not your friends, they're not your neighbors, and they're not going to make sure you're okay. And people need to learn this. People need to wake up to this. The left are not doing anything good. Don't ignore them. You need to fight back against them. They want to get in ICE officers' face. They want to attack them. We need to rise up and defend the ICE officers. We need to start smashing the left in the face. The shootings of Good and this other faggot aren't enough. They're becoming more emboldened by it. So they need to be crushed. This isn't a valiant, heroic effort. This is anarchy, and it's to destroy the state, and it's to make yours and my family more unsafe. This is what the left is doing. That is what they are. And if they have their way, our children will never be safe. You'll be outnumbered. You will never be able to defend your children. You will be overwhelmed and outnumbered. If you allow garbage like this faggot and the other ones that are following them to have their way, if they have their way, your families are in imminent danger in Minnesota and around the country. So people need to start standing up to the left more than what's already happening. Some guys go out and they're getting jumped and beat up. They're by themselves. You need to go in larger groups. I've been saying this forever. Do not go alone. It might make for good video. It might make for a lot of clicks and views on your podcast. It's dangerous to go alone. Go in a crew, defend yourselves, and fight back against this trash. And then you can safeguard your families and you can safeguard America by either getting rid of these people or telling them that them and their twisted views aren't wanted. All right, that's the show that I've got for everybody today. I'll have more updates coming for you soon. There's things I'm behind on that I have to catch up with. I want to thank all the new viewers and subscribers. Please like, subscribe, and share to the show. And I really appreciate it. And getting it out there and getting more followers really helps me out too. We're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, we're on TikTok. Thanks, everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.